The top 1% of retirees are happier, wealthier, and more fulfilled than everyone else, but it's not because of what you might think. And what upsets me most about this is that anyone can be in the top 1%, they just don't know it yet. See, what separates this group of retirees from the other 99% isn't how much money they have, and it definitely isn't about their investment returns. It's about all of the other things that most people just never think about. I'm talking about how you think, how you plan, how you live in retirement. See, I have this fundamental belief that someone doesn't enter the top 1% of anything once they have enough money. They already were in the top 1% in their mindset, and the wealth that comes from that is simply a byproduct. In other words, having more money doesn't put you in the 1%. Being in the top 1% is what makes you more money. So in this video, I'm revealing the 10 things that I think the top 1% of retirees do differently and why this is attainable for anyone, regardless of how much money you have. The first is that they plan beyond the numbers. See, most retirees obsess over one question: do I have enough? But the top 1%, they ask a better question: what kind of life do I want to live? They understand that money is just a tool, and the goal isn't only to have enough money or even have more of it. The real goal is designing a lifestyle that brings joy, purpose, and connection to their life. They don't just think about what they're retiring from, they look forward to what they're retiring to. The average retiree steps into retirement only knowing that they won't run out of money, but have no idea what they're going to do on a day-to-day basis. See, the top 1%, they design their life after work because they understand that planning for the non-financial parts of retirement is what leads to an intentional and fulfilling life. Number two, they don't try to time the market, they design a real strategy. Now here's the truth, the best retirees never try to predict what the market will do next. They don't panic during market downturns, they don't chase headlines. Instead, they have a written income and investment strategy. They know which account they're going to be pulling from this year, how much cash they need to be holding, and what's growing for the future. See, we're all on the same playing field. We all get to choose what we do with our money, how we spend it, where we're going to live, and how we want to live. Those things are under our control, but the playing field is also level in things that we can't control too. We have to all deal with sudden market drops and high inflation and slow economic cycles, but what separates the best from average is the decisions that are made along the way. When the market drops 30% in year one of retirement, what's your plan for that? Do you have something that's written down for that scenario, or are you just winging it and likely going to panic sell in that moment? See, two different retirees can have the same set of circumstances, but the decisions made during those moments, like a market decline, can result in two very different outcomes. And the final thing that I'm going to say here about market timing is that if you are overly obsessed with investment performance and trying to time the market perfectly, it tells me you likely don't have anything else in life that you enjoy or value, and that your mindset around money is likely one of scarcity, not abundance. But the best retirees create a plan, they trust it, and then they go enjoy life. Number three, they don't fear taxes. They use the tax code to their advantage. See, most people view taxes as a burden, and if managed improperly, they definitely can be, but the top 1% know that the tax code actually creates opportunities in retirement that you can't find anywhere else while you're working. So understanding the opportunities that Social Security taxation or tax gain harvesting or charitable giving or even tax-free IRA distributions can create in retirement, it can really open your eyes once you understand them. Your perspective is going to shift from they're just coming after all my retirement funds now to I'm using the tax code legally to reduce my tax bill every single year. And this is possible for the best retirees because they look for ways to fill up those low tax brackets with either Roth conversions or thoughtful distributions. And they understand how Social Security, Medicare, and their RMDs all are going to interact with each other. They're not guessing, they're planning ahead, and the average retiree kicks the can down the road and waits to deal with things once it's too late. The top 1%, they see what's coming and they do something about it. Number four, they stay engaged, curious, and active. And this might surprise you because retirement is often represented as your chance to finally rest and relax. You've worked hard for 30 years or more, and you've earned the right to do nothing. But the best retirees don't sit around relaxing all day. They're active, they're curious, they're involved. They start part-time businesses, they volunteer in their communities, they learn something new that they're interested in, they try out new hobbies. I work with over 100 retirees, and the best part of my job is hearing what they're doing in retirement from day to day. Everything from growing produce to sell at the local farmers market to building wheelchair ramps for people in their community to visiting family around the country in their RV. It never looks the same, but there is a consistent theme. intentionality, and curiosity. See, the top 1%, they have found things that are more fulfilling than relaxing all day. They found purpose, and it only comes through staying active, engaged, and curious. Number 5, they know their spending numbers forward and backward. And here's a little secret. The retirees who feel most confident about their money aren't the ones that have the biggest portfolios. They're the ones who actually know what they're going to spend and if their portfolios can support that. They've done the work of determining their must-haves and their nice-to-haves. And by understanding these two different spending amounts, you can establish a spending floor and a spending ceiling. So what this does is it creates a range. And if you operate within that range, you know you're going to be fine. So defining your guardrails around spending, it actually is going to create freedom and peace of mind rather than restriction and worry. The biggest unlock is whenever you know how much you can and should spend every month, and what you can do from that is you can spend without guilt. So having more money doesn't help you get comfortable, but having a plan will. Number 6, they make decisions with their spouse if they are married. You'd be amazed how many couples go into retirement never having talked about their goals. Neither person knows what drives the other person. They have no idea what the other person really wants to do with their time in retirement. But the top 1%, they sit down and they talk through the big stuff. Things like, what does a perfect day look like in retirement for you and for me? Do we want to travel a lot or spend more time in our community? What are the things that we want to spend our money on? What happens if one of us passes away earlier than we expect? Should we take Social Security early or later? What happens if one of us needs long-term care? Who handles the finances if one of us can't anymore? See, it's these conversations that need to happen that many couples never have. They just wander into retirement and try to figure it out when they get there, only to find themselves saying, is this all there is? See, the retirees who get the most out of life with their spouse understand that they will likely have different ideas and dreams for retirement, and they learn how to fulfill each person's wishes. But you can't get to that point until you have the conversation. Number 7, they maintain an investor mindset. One of the biggest mistakes a retiree can make is getting ultra conservative with their investments just because they are now retired. This presents many issues, with inflation being the most obvious one, but what a lot of people don't consider is the opportunity cost of not maintaining this investor mindset. Things like, how will your heirs be affected in the future? How will your charitable giving be limited perhaps? Will you hurt your standard of living later on in life? And most of the time, the desire to really get conservative comes from this place of fear, maybe of volatility. But the reality is that short-term volatility is somewhat what's required to make money over long periods of time. And you might be thinking, but Jacob, I don't have a long period of time because I'm retired now. And my question back to that is going to be, well, what happens if you live for 30 or 40 years? Is that a long time? And even if you don't need to invest for growth to meet your own income needs, what if you invested for growth for the future generations after you? I can assure you that your grandkids will be glad that you invested your unneeded money aggressively for the next 30 years before they received it, rather than having that sit in CDs the whole time. Now, I'm saying that you should maintain an investor mindset, but you do have to protect yourself in the short term, because nothing hurts your chances of a successful retirement like sequence of return risk and having to sell stocks at a loss to create income during that time. This is why I always advocate for a 5-year runway of cash and other income-producing investments that allow you to weather any storms that might pop up. And finally, you've worked your entire life to get this much money. Now is your time to capitalize on the wealth that you've built and grown and help it grow more. There's a reason they say that the rich keep getting richer, and it's not because they're smarter or have better investments. It's simply because they have more money than you. See, compounding always works better with larger numbers. Number 8, they ask for help. And this is a big one. The best retirees know what they don't know, and they're not afraid to get help. They work with financial planners, tax professionals, estate planning attorneys, Medicare specialists. They don't try to figure it all out alone, because they would rather go enjoy life than research the smallest details of the tax code. And you probably think this is self-serving because I am a financial planner, but if you can find anyone who has been successful in life or in business that has done everything 100% on their own, I'd like to know who that person is. The truth is, the best at anything realize that their time is their most valuable asset. So if they can find someone else to give them that time back, they will do it every single time. One of my favorite quotes is, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. So my encouragement to you is to find the professionals that you trust and get them in your corner. And the best time to do that is when things are going great, not when the house is on fire. Number 9, they obsess over leaving a values legacy more than leaving a financial legacy. See, whenever we talk about legacy as it relates to retirement planning, we often think about how much money we want to leave to our kids or our grandkids. But the top retirees don't look at legacy this this way. And they definitely want to leave money and financial means to their family, but more importantly, they want to leave a legacy of values. Values like hard work and honesty and integrity and seeking to give more than receive and so on. Things that truly matter and what can actually help the generations to come build wealth themselves and create a fulfilling life because of who they are, not because of what their parents or grandparents gave them financially. And the best quote to maybe illustrate this is, "Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, but teach a man to fish and you'll feed him for a lifetime." See, top retirees understand the values they pass on to their kids and their grandkids are far more important than leaving them a large sum of money. And number 10, they take action. Here's the truth. Most people don't fail in retirement because of bad luck. They fail simply because they wait too long to get serious about it. They overanalyze everything, they procrastinate decisions, and ultimately they think it's too hard and tell themselves, we're just going to figure this out later. But what the top 1% do is they don't wait. They see the potential roadblocks in advance and they build a plan around it and they start executing. They know that planning can only get you so much, and at some point you just have to start and trust the plan that you've built. It's like planning out a side business that you want to start and taking months or even years to make sure you have everything lined up to have a successful business, only to never pull the trigger. Anyone who's successful, they take action when they have a good enough plan and they trust that they're going to figure it out as they go. They don't expect perfection from themselves, but they do know that waiting around won't get them anywhere. So I'm curious, which of these things are you already doing or thinking about? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you're not yet doing some of these things, which ones do you think you need to start? I'd love to hear your thoughts because I want you to enjoy the life you've always dreamed of. It likely won't be the easiest route, but there's a very good chance it's going to be the most fulfilling. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.